creation of a PHEV is actually pretty simple, but in reality that mechanical engineering challenge of marrying the electrical power with the petrol power seamlessly, that's actually quite a difficult thing to do. This is the Kia Optima PHEV and it aims to tackle that challenge head on. Now, whilst some PHEVs kick and scream about their electrical credentials, the Optima actually goes about its business in a much more subtle way. Not looking too dissimilar from the standard Optima, which is no bad thing, it's a smart looking car. This car's differences actually are more to do with aerodynamic benefit, as opposed to being a mewling child, mummy, mummy, look at me, I'm a plug-in hybrid. There are some more closed off grills, different alloy wheel designs, and a few other tweaks to the bodywork. But ultimately it still comes across as a really grown-up machine. Now, just because this car has an environmental focus doesn't mean you have to go without toys when it comes to the interior. There's one grade to choose from, and things like dual zone climate control, heated seats, heated steering wheel, DAB radio and the like are all a given in this car. Front and centre is a touchscreen infotainment display, which is actually really quite intuitive. I'm a big fan of Kia's systems, very responsive, very visual based, so it's easy to see at a glance. Whilst these front seats are not the most bolstered, they're certainly comfortable, they're very padded and ideal for long motorway journeys. The rear bench seats 3 and legroom's pretty good, but headroom for the tallest of occupants will be cut down slightly by that sloping roofline. But for your average Joe, it actually is pretty good back there. Now, because of the onboard battery pack, boot space has been cut down slightly. It's now only 307 litres, but that's still more than enough. It's a usable size boot. What is a little bit irritating is that those rear seats don't actually fold flat. Kia claim that this car can run in full electric mode for up to 33 miles, which is pretty good, and it's perfectly ample for those who have short commutes or spend a lot of time in sort of the urban sprawl. And whilst you are around town being a pure electric vehicle, it's a very tranquil and relaxing experience. You don't have the grumble of any sort of engine, you feel elevated above the traffic, and I certainly, in electric cars in general, feel more relaxed at the wheel. And that's something that comes across in this car. It's a car that isn't going to drain you. It's not a tiring experience getting from point A to point B in this Optima. Charging takes 6 hours from a household socket or 3 hours from a rapid charger. The Optima PHEV isn't going to win any awards for handling. It's perfectly acceptable, but it doesn't come across as being overly sharp in terms of steering, and there is a bit of body roll. However, it makes up for that in comfort because it's really good at soaking up the lumps and bumps of our rather broken, battered British roads. Now, combined with that electric motor is a 2-litre petrol engine, and combined they produce 202 brake horsepower and a fairly healthy 189 pounds-feet of torque. Now, that torque in particular is very good for getting a bit of a move on whenever you want to push on past somebody who's dawdling in front of you on the motorway. It can definitely hold its own at motorway speeds. It's a very relaxing vehicle to do long distances in. Now, in reality, the 176 mpg that is claimed is actually very difficult to obtain. However, you have a real shot at it if you can stay primarily in the electric power band, because that means you're just using your electric power, no fuel is being burnt, and of course if you can get to work and back on electric power alone, happy days, because you can just plug it in, charge up for a fraction of the cost of fuel, and that is where your average MPG is going to shoot upwards. This car is maybe not ideal for the lengthy motorway journey because you're going to be predominantly using petrol power. For that, we'd highly recommend the excellent diesel version of the Optima. This PHEV emits just 37 grams per kilometre of CO2. If you fancy a Kia Optima PHEV, well, you can have one on your driveway from £33,995. And certainly if you're an urban warrior and spend a lot of time driving in town or at lower speeds, I think this car could save you a fair bit of money on fuel. Thanks very much for watching, and let us know what you think in the comments below. Please subscribe for all of the latest and greatest cars to hit the road. For breaking news and written reviews, visit www.insidelane.co.uk.